I'm going to step away.
Hello? Some friends, audience members, can you hear us?
Online, we can hear you.
Thank you.
I think they hired somebody else.
Oh, good.
But call the meeting to order. Here come the deers. Yeah, I need a couple more chairs. Hi. We're kind of in the midst of the pig roast setup, so. I'm gonna call the meeting to order and welcome. The public. And we will start with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, liberty and justice for all. Thank you. All right. Board present. Ms. Nippy, are you there?
Here.
Okay, Merritt? Here. Dave? Here. Steve Green is not present. He's there. Oh, he's there. Oh, I didn't see it. Okay. You're just muted. Okay. Steve, unmute yourself.
I heard it.
I'm here.
Okay. Okay. Additions or deletions to the agenda? Kyle, did you have something?
No, I actually don't think we need to do or go through that, so I think we're all right.
Okay. Anybody else? Are there any conflicts of interest of the board related to the agenda, any of the agenda items? Don't think so. Let's look at the draft minutes of the August meeting. I'm looking for a motion to approve. They were sent around. I have them here. Looking for a motion to approve the draft minutes from the August 17th meeting. I'll move to approve them.
I'll second.
Audio is terrible.
The
Where-
audio's actually just fine. I can hear you clearly. I can hear Steve clearly. No issues on my end. Is anyone else experiencing terrible audio?
I am. I'm having difficulty, but I'm going to try a landline instead of being on my cell phone. This is Linnea Zuick, 27711 Risky Drive, Golden. I'm going to try my landline.
Yeah, because we hear you loud and clear.
Thank you.
Okay, we have a motion to accept the draft minutes from August 17th.
I second that.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
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 All opposed?
Nay.
One
Nay.
nay. Two
Nay.
nay. The motion passes. We'll start with the treasurer's report, Nippy.
Chief's report. Oh, sorry.
Treasurer's report.
Yep, I am up first. My bad.
Yeah.
Excuse me. This treasurer's report has been distributed online, and
Welcome to Zoom. Enter your meeting ID.
if you are, okay, I guess you muted yourself. Thank you. We are looking at coming into the end of our year here. I don't want to read this verbatim, but I want to highlight that we still have an additional $100,000 of budgeted spend available with 3 months left in the year. So I think we're going to be just fine. as we come into closing out the year. Things that we're looking at, that are continuing to be a part of our factoring up for our new budget is that we have a pretty big reserve of nearly $500,000, which is double our 2023 expenditure budgeted. So we're doing pretty healthy right now. Insofar as spending, are we spending where we need to? That's a question as we go into our new budget cycle of should we be spending this money elsewhere or trying to get rid of some of our capital deferred maintenance issues. Any questions on the general treasurer's report? Again, I don't want to just read it to y'all because it's available.
Anybody? Oh, I have no comments.
Okay.
All
Chief,
right.
sorry, go ahead.
Thank you. Thank you, Nikki.
You bet.
Okay, next is the chief's report.
Perfect. We're going to summarize a bunch of this because, again, it's also available online. Working with Emerald Lion still with the county CWPP. The biggest thing that we're working on right now with some of our partners with the county and also with someone else who's helping with some GIS mapping within the district is creating a new planning units and evacuation units within the fire district. So again, this is part of the county CWPP, not part of our own CWPP. It will play into our own CWPP as we look to renew that next year, hopefully. But it is something that we have to do for the county, and we are working on that right now. The Station 83 cleanup was great. We had a huge turnout from the community. We really appreciate everyone who came out. The Mission Vision Values meeting was also a really, really fantastic success for us. As a fire district, we had an incredible amount of participation from the firefighters during that exercise, and there was an incredible amount of passion in that room from everybody that's part of this fire department, and it was really inspiring. And I'm really excited to share that when we come to the agenda item later in the meeting. I'm continuing with HH and 303 informational sessions. Unfortunately, it is still such a complicated measure that it still seems like there's not a defined method on how to move forward with either of them. We're trying to get the best information we can. The county is supposed to be sending out an adjusted taxable valuation that would show the impact from HH and 303, but we have not received it yet. We checked yesterday and today, and it is not there. So unfortunately, we will not be able to have that, but we will be able to have that as we move forward with the budget planning. Operations, this is from Chief Enright. We're starting to see the end of summer. We've seen increased traffic and use of the parks with the summer and also with cooler weather. Beginning of the summer was very, very damp, and we saw a lot less traffic from bicyclists and from foot traffic in the parks. We've not had very many wildland fires, not just in our district, but actually regionally because of the higher moisture, which is great. Obviously, it's kind of a mixed bag. We hope that we continue to see the weather patterns that we have moving into winter, and it should keep the wildland fire danger on the low side. As of today, we've run 71 calls. The reports that were sent had a few things that had to be changed, so they're not included in the statistics that are in the other additional reports attached to this. We did have a very significant park rescue last week that required a helicopter evacuation of a severely injured mountain biker who was very, very far back in Centennial Cone. And it was a really great effort between us, Flight for Life, Stadium Medical, and the Park Service. We are the park rangers. We had quite a good turnout from all of the agencies, and it was a really good effort. And it was cold, and they were out for a long time. And also, one big thank you to the auxiliary who showed up and brought the people coming out of the food or out of the field warm food, which was just such a huge deal to them. And I really want to thank them for doing that. It was great. Rescue 82, as most of you probably know, is in service. After a significant amount of work from our firefighters, we will have the rescue down here during the pig roast to display and help show the great things that the auxiliary has done to help put that truck together. It is really an impressive vehicle. We were able to bring that down yesterday when we did pack tests for our firefighters or for our new recruits to Golden and show the Golden firefighters who would be running with us up in the district as our second dues around that truck, and they were very also excited to see that for us. And the great thing is it's interchangeable with a bunch of our neighbors, so that when they come in, let's say our crews are in the field and we request equipment from that truck to come back into the field next, they know what that equipment is because it's the same equipment that they use. So there's a good interchangeability there and allows for duplication of efforts, or sorry, reduced duplication of effort between our neighboring partners and us as they come to help us in our district. Let's see here. The resident 82 has moved in. She is definitely been working on a bunch of great projects, kind of knocking out small things at 82. She continues there. We have seen a significantly reduced turnout time from that resident being at Station 82. So that was a really great thing, and we really thank Nicole for stepping up into that role. And we really anticipate those benefits to the district to continue to grow. So we're really appreciative of that. Thank you, Nicole. I know you're on there. The concerns for paramedic coverage throughout our district and the Golden area is still present. Unfortunately, we've had a couple of shifts in the last couple of weeks. So multiple shifts in the last couple of weeks that have not been staffed by a medic. So when that happens, they drop to the minimum staffing for their contract, which is 2 ALS ambulances plus 1 BLS ambulance available for all of the fire districts that contract with Stadium. They're continuing to monitor and try to track resource availability and stay on top of that and try to keep their staffing up the best they can. But unfortunately, it's the staffing of a paramedic in general in anywhere in the United States. It's not even just Colorado. It's just so difficult that they are having a hard time, which honestly should be expected in the current climate that we're in. That's the ambulance, correct. Operations staff from Stadium and from our district is monitoring that to make sure that we're tracking resource availability and we're not making that we are always getting appropriate resources into the fire district, so that if for us, we've made sure that we're a priority for an ALS ambulance due to our time and distance from the hospital, and also the severity and nature of the calls that we receive in the fire district. So that's known, it's built into the decision-making algorithms that are done by Stadium and by dispatch. Let's see here. Personnel. So we have 21 operational members currently, including our 4 new members. They all passed their physical test yesterday by a pretty good margin. So we're really excited to bring them on. We have one of them that's already completed all of their onboarding requirements and I believe is going operational today or tomorrow, and 3 that are quickly working through it. We also have the 5 support services members. So we're going to start reporting both numbers for both divisions now in the personnel. So we have a total of 26 operational personnel, or 26 personnel within the fire district. Correct. Yep. And I'll go through that when I hit training, but yes, we do have an EMT in training. Out of those 40 members, I don't know if we covered that when we brought them on. One of them is already an EMT and has experience with another fire department. One of them has extensive experience with another fire department and was previously certified as an EMR and will soon hopefully be certified as an EMT, but has very extensive fire experience. The other is in EMT school, and one of them is kind of starting as a brand new firefighter and is very, very enthusiastic about moving forward with all this training. We have 3 of the 4 that are in district.
Can you repeat questions from the audience? That was difficult to hear.
Yeah, no problem, Niffy. Sheila asked if they were in district or out of district, and the answer was that there's three of the firefighters that we are, or three of the recruits are in district.
That's awesome.
We continue to have really great interest from in-district people about the fire department. Since we've brought on those four, we have received 2 more applications, and we've had fielded several questions and conversations about others joining the department within the short range future. And we'll talk about how that plays in with our fire academy when we get to training. But again, we also really want to thank or congratulate Nick Meyer and Peter Whiteneck, who successfully graduated Golden Fire Academy. So they are both fully certified firefighters now for the fire district. They really did a great job in that academy. As for our own academies, we are looking down essentially hosting 2 fire academies within the fire district almost simultaneously, which is a pretty large lift for our district. It's a pretty large lift for any district. Thankfully, we have a lot of really great partners that are helping make this happen. We definitely could not do this by ourselves, so we're really thankful for that. The Fire 2 Academy is going to be starting on October 28th and be going through December 2nd. It's going to be on Saturdays. That is between Golden Timberline and Golden Fire, Timberline Fire, and Golden Gate. Golden Gate is the primary host of the Firefighter 2 Academy for the 3 agencies. And I will be the lead instructor for that academy. The Fire 1 Academy is something that is also under preparation. It should be starting, it sounds like hopefully in November. This is a really unique opportunity, as I think I've addressed to the board before, that DFPC has come to us with. They are creating a hybrid fire academy curriculum that's going to be rolled out across the state. It's designed for rural fire departments to be able to be trained to the same technical standards as everybody else and held to the same certification standards, but it's really a very innovative way of delivering that training. And we are going to be the pilot program for the state. DFPC, Division of Fire Prevention and Control. It's the state entity for the fire service.
Do we need to put that on our website that we're going to be piloting this for the whole state, like our little district over here?
Yeah, I think we're going to definitely tout it out there and make sure people and I believe DFPC will as well. They've got a lot of buy-in in what's happening for us and through that district, and I think that there's a lot of excitement, and I do think that there will be PR that comes from it, truthfully. So yeah, we're looking forward to that. There's quite a place. We currently have 6 Golden Gate firefighters that have committed to that academy. So we will have 6 of our own firefighters at one time going to academy. And that is not including anybody who joins the department between now and then. Probationary firefighter Drew Kenyon, who we mentioned earlier, is attending EMT school at Red Rocks. She's progressing very well and continues to not just do well, she's excelling in EMT school. Just so we can be clear with the district and the board members, we have found really great funding mechanisms for our firefighters to go through all the way through EMT school. The last 2 firefighters that have gone through EMT school through Golden Gate or that are part of Golden Gate have come at no expense to the district. So that's a really great thing for us. There was a big thanks to Red Rocks and their financial aid program, who has really helped get people through finding funding for their EMT programs. We already talked about the new recruits. They're doing awesome. The impact fee study group met yesterday, and we had a really great kickoff meeting with BBC. I'm going to pull up a separate note that I have here and that Jan put together. Actually, Jan, do you want to address that? Are you still on here?
She's on. You're muted if you're talking, Jan.
There we go. No, you're doing a great job. Go ahead.
Okay. So we met with BBC yesterday and went through essentially the initial plan of how we're going to move forward with the study. We went through some technical details about how we source the data that we use to basically come up with the impact fees at the end, and then the technical details of writing the actual document itself. They're a really great help, but I'm also really, really incredibly thankful for Jan. And I want to make sure that we continue to let her know that, because her expertise in this field are just invaluable. So thank you, Dan or Jan, as we move forward with this. And not to go, I'll keep that really high level, but we're going to be working hopefully with grabbing information from both our insurer and the county assessor's office. And then we'll be sorting through a whole pile of data over the next several months, and then compiling that final report. And we are hoping to have this report done by January. Anything I'm missing, Jan?
Nope, sounded good to me.
All right, I'll go back to my report there. Likely future actions and events we have there that we're working on the budget. With that, we'll probably be working on an updated fee schedule. The academies are on there, station updates, apparatus replacement plans, financial diversity, which we're working on actively, and then the CWPP update. The one thing that I do want to put here is we will probably touch on with it. I did receive the initial bid from the CWPP provider. We didn't add it to the agenda, but it is something that we're looking in the budget for next year. However, we're also going to be seeking a grant called the COCO AIM grant that opens next month. That we'll hope will cover that cost. The estimated cost for our district to update our CWPP is $55,000. So that is something that we're gonna again really hope to get covered by a grant. It's definitely a very important thing for us to do. I cannot stress how important it is. I know that number is high, but it is something that we'll look forward. I will probably be adding that to the agenda officially next month, so we can look at what the grant is, along with the actual bid itself and how it plays into the budget. Is there any questions for me? Perfect.
Community organization reports.
The Grange, or auxiliary pig roast, Grange pig roast.
Okay.
Wherever you go, please join us. Please tell your neighbor. As you can see in this room, and in our little auxiliary bank account, the community is being very generous and very supportive. And I believe some of this momentum that we have seen over the last couple of months, people are very excited about this district. Yeah. And so, no, thank you. Please join us. Firefighter last night finished the hall. Grateful to them, and we'll see them Saturday morning.
And I want to point out something for a second, that I want to tell you how thankful we are to everyone who's putting in I can't even count how many hours are going into the pig roast. It is incredible. This is the first time I've obviously ever been a part of this and seen it, but the amount of hours that have come from the auxiliary for planning, from Terry setting up the Grange, and everything that's going into this is really special. And I cannot tell you how thankful the firefighters and myself are for that time. Really, thank you guys for doing this.
Yes. Yes. Thank you, Chief.
Under old business, we have email communication. There are two items. Mr. Primer, want to take them separately? Yes. Okay, email communication policy, I guess you're asking.
Communication policy, I wrote one up. BR. do away with the old one and accept this new one. I'll make a motion that we do that.
Niffy hasn't, is not privy to it. That's why we asked you to send it around so we could review it before we make the meeting. Well, Niffy can't do it.
What does it say? New
Read
policy.
it.
Yeah, I can read it to you. So it said this is, so the golden communication policy for emails, Golden Gate Fire Protection District. It'd be May 18th of 2023. I believe that's when you created the document. Is that correct? Okay. Number one, board members agreed to use the district provided email for all district business. Number two, district email is not intended for personal items. Number three, be courteous and professional in all your district communications, and then a sign and date line.
Can't hear you, Dave.
Sorry about that. That's a shame.
Yeah, Dave said it's shorter and sweeter. I commented that it's pretty much the same thing, that we have a policy in place that's been signed by 4 of the 5 board members, and I personally don't see any reason to change it at this point, but that's my opinion. Anybody else want to chime in?
I think it's
The difference between Dave's policy and the policy that is in existence that I don't know who wrote. That major difference is that you don't need, I would never sign, and I have not signed your policy that says I need your permission to tell the community what's in board emails. That's a big difference. I don't need your permission to tell the community what's in board emails. There's no reason for me to sign that. I'll sign Dave's though. Or I would agree with Dave's. That's all I have to say.
Niffy?
I believe that the existing email policy is thorough, and it covers issues that have to do with Cora, and it covers making certain that no one's violating our bylaws by speaking on behalf of the whole district as an individual director. And I appreciate Dave for putting together that policy that you did. I feel like it's missing some things and it's not complete. And I don't know why we're changing our district policy, which applies to 28 operational and service members and district members for one individual.
Policy is censorship, Niffy. Censorship, clear as day.
We all took the oath of office, which covered everything in your policy anyway. So this here is just a minor adjustment. I make a motion, we accept my communication policy over the old one. Do away with the old one and accept this one.
Is there a second?
I second Dave's motion.
We have a motion and a second to accept Dave's abbreviated email policy. I'll call the vote. All in favor of accepting Dave Primer's.
A point of order real quickly.
Sure.
This is listed as discussion and not action on the
Okay.
agenda. We
You're
can't
right.
even.
Got him, huh, Niffy?
Well, no, we asked Dave to send around a suggestion to the board before the board meeting so we could look at it and be ready for it. And that's why it's listed as discussion. Does everybody understand that? So why don't we carry it over to next meeting and we'll put it on as an action item.
I would prefer that.
So I withdraw, I think because we can't vote on it.
Well, we did vote on it. Well, all right, you got a month to fix it. I'll withdraw my motion and we can take a good long hard look at it.
Sure. Okay, so the motion's withdrawn. You got that, Niffy? You got that, Steve?
Copy.
Okay. Then the next one is the website policy.
Yeah, I think we all should have access to the website. We went through this last time, I asked for something to be posted on there and it never got posted. What we're doing to,
What was that you wanted posted?
I wrote it all up and it was good with the amendment. The amendment was trying to get on the ballot and you would put the opposition on. You put your ideas on there, but you wouldn't post mine.
I don't think there was.
Yes,
I don't
it's
recall.
in the emails.
Okay, I'll look it up.
So I will just say the board has to collectively vote to put anything on the website. No individual director should be able to post what they want and their own private views and opinions on the website. I mean, and so the things that we voted for are the agendas, the meeting minutes, and then the treasurer's reports and the chief's reports. Those are the things that just go on there each month. Anything else that's on the website gets presented at a meeting like this and gets voted on.
No, Chris Creech put a resolution on the website. That was not from the board. It was his resolution.
What? Was to be voted on at the meeting.
That was written by Chris. He put it up there. He didn't take any input and didn't answer any questions about it. And it wasn't even true what he wrote.
Point of clarification, I have no idea what you're talking about.
Chris Creech put, prior to the hiring of Kyle Benson, he put a resolution on the website. He labeled it resolution. I
Was
don't.
under the agenda. Was on the agenda.
What did you say?
It was on the agenda.
It was pretty one-sided. So, and it wasn't true. So and he didn't answer people.
All right, point of order, we can move on.
Oh, point of order, Niffy, point of order. Numerous people inquired with Chris Creech and he never would reply to them because they saw the same flaws that I'm discussing right now. There weren't flaws, they're outright misstatements.
Okay, Steve, we're moving on. You're off topic. We discussed, yes, it is.
Talk about
Website. You not,
He was asked the question, he's answering it.
What question was he asked?
I'm contesting what you said, Niffy. Niffy said only the board gets to put things on the website. Individuals don't. Well, no individual wants to, but some board members aren't allowed to participate. That's the problem.
Steve, I do not know what is the resolution that you are talking about? You just said Chris's resolution. Which resolution is it, please?
The thing on the web, I don't know what you call it. He called it a resolution. It was not a resolution. It was a political statement, and it had a tally on there. And you were tallying it to see who was in favor of different points according to hiring the new chief. And he tabulated an opinion poll from it.
Oh, are you kidding? We absolutely all voted on whether or not we were going to do that. And then we were going to post it to the public. But that was voted on by this board. And Dave, actually, I'm pretty sure you voted for that as well. So I'm not sure at all what you're talking about, Steve.
Appeared on its own. So anyway, Niffy, I'm not going to argue with you after, I know how you are, Niffy, so there's no point in arguing with you.
okay, can we move on then? Are you clear that the board has to approve anything that's put on the website? If you want something on the website, bring it before the board and we'll discuss it.
That's not, again, it's not true. The newsletter the same way. They got
No, Steve, we're done.
Deb Curley. They get
We're
published.
done.
The board doesn't even see them. They're created by you and somebody else.
Well, you can submit articles to the newsletter.
Couldn't hear you.
I believe that anyone can suggest or even write articles for the newsletter.
There even was a newsletter, only
When?
after the fact. Dave?
What?
Dave, do you agree?
What? We didn't hear you.
Dave, Dave has brought this point up before also. The newsletters come out. Nobody even knows they're going to come out. The whole board does not know. It's the same situation. The newsletter and the website have had the same actions by you. And removal from some board members from those actions.
It's the information you put out there. We don't get a chance to see it until it's in the letter.
There is no, there has not been.
Haven't seen it.
I don't know, months and months ago, maybe,
Way back.
like, yeah, before, back in last spring, a year and a half ago.
Wasn't a year and a half ago, and it was a while ago, but it's been punted off to the side over and over again, just like it happened again tonight with Dave's email policy. It has been not wanting to be discussed. You guys haven't wanted to discuss it, and it gets dragged out further and further. I don't have a lot more to say, but you represent it in a fictitious manner. It's not being represented fairly or accurately what Dave's asking for.
There was a discussion item on the agenda, Steve, and we discussed it.
That's fine,
It'll
Dave.
come back. It's going to be brought back next month.
I'm sure it will.
I'll see to it.
Well, we've all seen it now. Chris?
As a community member, can I make a comment now, or should I wait till later?
Wait till later.
Wait till later.
Thank you.
All right, under new business, preliminary budget development and timeline, that's you, Niffy. Discussion.
Yes. So not a whole lot to discuss here. Dave, Chief, myself, and Chris, our bookkeeper, met an hour before this meeting to start looking at preliminary numbers. Unfortunately, we had planned to have our meeting last week, but that backcountry rescue of that mountain biker that Chief talked about earlier kind of got in the way of us being able to meet, so we had to cancel. But we are looking at, increased revenues and trying to understand what that looks like for our district and balancing those things out. So Chief with Chris Enright, our Assistant Chief Enright, and Chris Creech, our bookkeeper, have been putting together preliminary numbers. We started looking at those so far tonight, and then hopefully we'll get those finalized in the next week or so. I did want to give just a brief update on what that calendar looks like. So we will be delivering a draft budget to this board on 15 October, and then we'll have a budget hearing that's available for public review and comment. And we'll have that draft budget posted to the website by 15 October. And by 15 December, we're going to adopt our budget, and our mill levy will be set for property taxing purposes. And then on by 31st December, we need to have it formally adopted. And obviously, we're going to be doing these things on a little bit of a different schedule. I believe we have an early December meeting to make sure we get everything done outside of the holiday time. And make sure this will be available online for everyone to see, and we want people to review the budget that comes out of our committee, and we want people to look at it and scrutinize it. And there's some big changes that are being made, not in so much as what we're spending, but how we're allocating it. One of the biggest things that we're looking at is, thankfully, Chief and Chris looked at, hey, what did we budget versus what did we actually spend on each line item? And we historically just had mismatches every single year. So they're now fixing some of those things. And then we're putting together an operational budget versus a capital budget. So that you can see these are the items that we need to spend in order to work on an annual basis. And these are specific capital improvements, whether that's vehicles or improvements to our buildings, et cetera. That's my report as your treasurer and chair of the budget committee. I invite more discussion. Dave and Chief and Chris.
The only other thing I'd add there, Niffy, and I also was a little bit alluded to in the chief's report, is that if HH does pass, the timelines or the statutory timelines for budget filings do change by, I believe it's 2 weeks. And I believe hopefully we'll still be able to meet the original timelines, but they do change as part of that.
They're postponed by 2
They're
weeks?
postponed. And I don't know if it's exactly 2 weeks, but it's in that neighborhood.
Niffy, you say you, discuss the draft budget with the, in a public meeting. Would that be at the normal board meeting in October?
Yes.
I believe that's right, Niffy, it'd be on the 19th where the budget, the actual, at least that's the way I think we can do it. That can be the budget hearing.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
I know there's no numbers in front of any of you, so I guess there's not much else we can say about that.
Okay, we'll wait. Anybody else? Okay, Terry?
After you post the budget,
Yeah.
at the Grange, would you do that again?
Yes, oh, absolutely, we have to.
Thank you.
We'll repost it outside and there'll be copies inside and it'll be notes in the bulletin.
Did you hear that?
Yes.
Okay.
And I offered to take care of those things.
Just for what do you call it, posterity's sake, let's like vote on that and make sure that we've, as a board, have approved that we're going to go post it at the Grange. I just don't want anyone saying, hey, we didn't all agree to that. Is that fair?
We have to publicly post it.
Yeah, online posting is considered public posting.
Okay.
I move that we publicly post it on the outside and the inside of the Grange in written format.
Second.
Who's on the budget?
Pardon?
Who is on the budget committee?
Dave Primer, the chief, Niffy,
Is
and our bookkeeper.
the chief?
And the chief.
I said the chief, yes.
Dave who? Dave Brimmer?
Primer.
Okay, there's more than one Dave. Who else?
This information is publicly available in our meeting minutes, and we formed this budget committee in your presence.
I don't see meeting minutes with that information. You don't send me them. Who's on the budget committee?
We're moving on.
Was that a copy of the draft minutes, Steve? And it's in those draft minutes from our last meeting.
I do not get copies of the minutes.
Yes, you do.
I sent them to you
To your personal email.
a few days ago because I realized that you hadn't gotten them properly. I sent them to you.
Are you listed in there?
Yes, it's in those minutes.
All the people on the budget committee?
All except that there was to be an unnamed firefighter who still apparently is unnamed. So,
Okay, I'm gonna take a quick look at that. See, I didn't see that listed.
Okay.
Since you don't want,
That has been on the website for like 2 months. And you abstained from the budget committee vote. So like, I don't really understand why we're talking about this anymore.
Okay, if there's no more on, from Niffy on the, report. The next item under new business is presentation of updated mission, vision, and values. And that's Kyle.
So everybody can see it.
Everyone, have a copy. It's on.
Yeah, she is. Mission values first. Perfect. So now Chris is gonna share everything online.
I don't see any listing of the budget committee in those minutes.
Point of order.
I'll find it, Steve. I'll find it and I'll send it to you again.
It's on the website, and I don't believe it's your responsibility to support his inadequacies. and the way he's trying to waste your time and ours. That's-
It's
Not a
you.
big deal.
You don't want me to have this information. You don't want me
It's
to.
public information that anyone in the world can read by Googling our website and reading our meeting minutes.
Not in the minutes you sent me.
They're on the website, sir.
Are you sending different minutes to me than posted on the
Point
web?
of order, we're done.
I see.
Steve, Meredith is going to resend them.
Okay, I know that, but if he has a criticism, I'd like to reply to his criticism.
Let's go ahead and go to talk about the mission vision basket. So we, as a firefighter group, operational group, we met with here at the Grange 2 weeks ago. Prior to that meeting, the firefighters were assigned a homework assignment to come up with words that they felt they really reflected what we do as Golden Gate Fire Protection District. And things, this year was also examples of quotes that spoke to them. And the 5 things that they felt were really important that we do as a fire protection district. We went through a 2.5-hour exercise where we went through all of that data that they wrote down on some whiteboards and together came up with an updated mission, vision, value statement for the district. So the updated mission for the fire district is to provide exceptional fire, emergency medical, and all hazards response, as well as risk reduction and community education. The vision that was collectively decided on by the firefighters is to care for the community, the environment, and each other by continually answering the call. In our values, we chose 4 core values for the fire department, and they're professionalism, integrity, dedication, and compassion. At the end of the exercise, we had a blank slate, and we actually hand wrote our new mission, vision, values. That's okay. Every firefighter has signed the blank slate that we created with the mission, vision, values, attesting that they were a part of and believe in the mission, vision, values. The question I have to the board is if we need to formally adopt fire with an action of the board.
Yes. I make no, or I'll entertain a motion.
It's too close to see them.
Is it? Okay. Thank you, guys.
I'm looking for a motion to adopt the mission vision statement that Kyle has presented.
I move to adopt them.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I
Aye. Steve?
Aye.
Is that an aye?
Yes.
Unanimous.
Can you scroll down? Because I don't believe everyone can see that whole document online. It is on the website, though.
Yes. Thank you guys for the support. Like I said, it was a really incredible thing to see the firefighters come together and put this together, and the passion that they had for what they're doing and for the community. It was really awesome.
And this will formally go on the website.
Yes. Yes, correct.
As you bring new members on, they will sign also.
We should do that. That's a good idea. Yeah. We would like to invite the board to also sign and to sign that document or the post as well. Yes.
Is that going, you mean sign the board or?
Sign the board.
Okay.
Yep.
All right.
The hope is that once we do have all of the firefighter signatures at this point, I'd like to have it framed and we'll put it in conversations. But we are going to have it at the pig roast. So we're really excited to share that with the community during the pig roast.
Great. Great collaborative work with your firefighters. It's just awesome.
The board could make you whatever.
Separate from the adoption.
They were voted.
We voted to adopt it.
We voted to adopt it.
But you wanted to have some support from the board. Oh, well, signing it.
Oh, I think it's more of a, I think it's more of a
Symbolic.
symbolic. Yeah, yeah. But if that would be recommended, if there's something that would, then that there's, I don't see any harm in doing that as well either.
Yeah, just because that replacement is one that's been developed by previous firefighters and boards in the past.
So it would be a resolution of support.
Do we need to have somebody write that resolution, or can we?
I mean, it's just
I mean, motions carry the same weight as resolutions.
Public sees resolutions and not so much motions.
They do?
Yeah, it's there.
I see. Okay.
That would agree. That, we can't do that at this board meeting.
No, yeah.
Needs to draw up a date for it.
So it's been officially adopted, and just be an additional measure of support. Yeah. I do think, like I said, the signature of on the board is a symbolic measure, and that would be more of an official measure.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, digital documentation software emergency reporting sunset and updated ESO quote.
Yes, and Chris,
Whatever that means.
I sent it to you in email. You want to pull it up?
Kyle is going to explain.
You cover the word chart.
And the orchard. So Chris Creech is going to pull it up so we can take a look at it.
The whole.
Steve, can you hear me?
I can hear you, but not well.
While they're looking for the document, you can find the composition of the board members in the July minutes.
Those were the ones I said were formed in error of our bylaws.
Whatever, but that's
Not whatever. It's supposed to be to
that's
that.
where the board was set.
Yes, but
Budget committee.
parts of the bylaws and the
I
board
mean,
came out and said something about that. I don't
Well-
see the change has happened.
we're past that now.
Not past it now. It's not according to the
Point of
bylaws.
order, let's get back to what we were doing, please.
It's being displayed.
Okay. Is it possible to put up here so everyone can see it? There. Okay. So this is a. Oh, sorry. No, you're right. Okay. So prior to my arrival at Golden Gate, Chief Enright presented a issue to the board and to the public that our current digital documentation software, which is known as emergency reporting, will be sunsetting at some point next year. And it is currently not being updated, and it will no longer be available to us next year. Emergency reporting was bought by a company called ESO, Emergency Services Organization, I believe is the operation. They are currently servicing that emergency reporting, and then will also be responsible for it being absorbed into their other product, which is also known as ESO. Originally, he presented a quote to the board that had some really, really high numbers associated with it. After talking to ESO over the last several months and to a new representative, they've come back with a much more reasonable quote for us to entertain, and it is only a small change above what we currently pay for emergency reporting. The benefits for us, however, are that ESO separates our emergency medical reporting, so our reporting and our fire reporting. So they're two separate reports. It is much easier for our Centura, or which is now called Common Spirit, thank you, to be able to access, as well as our medical director. It also has a function that replaces the software that we stopped using earlier in the year, which is called so essentially allows us to track firefighter training and PRs inside of this solution. Granted, this is also for this is for the same cost or a very nominal increase in cost over what we currently pay. It also has a function to be able to create a full internal employee folder. So essentially takes all of the HR functions that we are currently need to do on paper and puts them online, which is very helpful to our HR professional. It is very, and also allows us to move things like truck checks and everything online. So essentially ESO functions as a singular portal for the most of the things that we do in the fire department. And it is now, as I really see it, is very affordable. It is a stair-step program. The first year for us in their new bid, it is a total of $4,999. And that includes their implementation cost. So that includes them coming to the fire district, doing online training, helping us set up the system, and then also transferring all of our data that currently exists within emergency reporting to ESO. So it actually means that we don't lose anything in the meantime, which I think is very important for us.
Web-based, right?
It is web-based, yes. Let's take one step back about the other thing that's really great about ESO is functionality. The user interface of ESO is very, very simple. And as we already know, we put so much on our volunteers for training and what they're expected of in calls. To be able to simplify documentation for them is a really big thing. And also could probably turn out where we're going to provide even a higher level of documentation on the backside because of the input being simpler. And it also removes a lot of redundancy of documentation. Let's go back to the financial cost. Year 2 actually goes down because we're not having any implementation cost. So the total cost for year 2 now is $4,333. And then year 3, which is our total cost recurring moving forward after year 3, $4,815. And I believe when I had our bookkeeper look at our current costs for emergency reporting, we were paying $3,000. Do you remember what that number was? $3,100 or $3,500 per year, something around that. So again, it's a cost increase of around $1,000 for the year. But with the increased functionality that I believe comes with this, it is a really good deal. And it also represents them coming down, I believe, almost 50% from what our initial bid was. Huge, yeah.
Is it necessary to have the maintenance and a support package, or is it so easy that nobody really needs that?
Where are we seeing the maintenance and support? Is it on the year 1?
Was your question, is it possible or is it included?
I believe it does include that because of their, especially being a web-based, where they're, when I've used this product before. It's one of those companies where you call them up on the phone and they can fix it for you while you're on the web-based platform. It also is this product is so heavily used amongst our peers. It's super easy for us to be able to say, hey, let's say Stadium, have you run into this problem? What is the fix for this problem? This is generally the most widely used documentation software in the front range by a very large margin. And it also, importantly, is used by our EMS provider. The one function that we're still looking to see how it would work, but there is a possibility that all people would be able to start documentation digitally on a tablet with this on scene. If we can budget for that for next year, they would start the documentation, and then they actually can pass that documentation and ping it to the ambulance. So the great thing is for that, if we're able to create this continuum, it allows for a continuum of care of people that we care for in the district. So the paramedic sees what our documentation is and then continues it. The way that ESO works is that then plugs into the hospital. The hospital can see what we documented, what the paramedic transported documented, and then what they document. And then the surgeon can see that, and then the follow-up care can see that. And it's this great continuation of data that really helps measure outcomes on both sides of what we do. The other thing that's really awesome is if we are working with a hospital that's tied in with ESO, which I believe St. Anthony's is, our providers can then go back in to our chart and they can see all the things that have happened to that person. So they can do their own follow-up within ESO continuously of the person that they took care for.
I have a budget question. So those numbers suggest that we would be paying 1,500, let's say, more than we currently are.
Roughly.
But you said that would also take the place of Target Solutions or whatever we're calling it now. We pay something for that, don't we?
No, we stopped using Target Solutions earlier in the year.
Oh,
yes. Yeah, we're not paying Target Solutions.
okay.
Let me revisit that.
But was that budgeted for
Target Solutions
previously?
So Target Solutions, reword what I'm saying. So Target Solutions was paid previous to my arrival for the year.
Okay.
However, it was not utilized prior to my arrival with the training staff. We had it, but it really wasn't being utilized. We paid for the subscription for the end of the year. We have access to everything on Target Solutions should we need it. But it is no longer in subscription. It's not going to renew for 2024. So it was allocated in the 23 budget. It was spent prior to my arrival into the fire district. And this does take its place next year again for a significantly lower cost. The only thing that ESO does not do that Target Solutions or Vector Solutions, I think is what it's called now, does do was offer online video training that can be distributed to a firefighter. In my personal opinion, the uptake that came from that type of training was not very high. And so the biggest benefits was actually being able to online track JPR progress and also training hours. The other thing that ESO will do in the HR function is being able to track volunteer hours of both our operational and our support staff, which is a really good thing moving forward. That's been going into emergency reporting, and as we do training, it's going into emergency reporting. It's just not nearly as robust as what ESO does. Yes, because that goes into the point system.
Questions? Comments?
So my request to the board with this, we have two options. If we want to move forward, it is a 90-day implementation process from the time of signature with ESO to the time we're actually using it is 90 to 120 days. It's a net 30 payment. However, because we have already paid for emergency reporting for the rest of the year, we just pay the net difference, and they won't turn it off, and I think we pay the net difference for the rest of the year, and then it would start again next year. But I have to double check with that. I think ideally, the way that we would do this is that we probably would not start this implementation until January, based off of the load that we have with training coming for the rest of the year. But I just want to put this out there and also see if we want to vote on it today, so I can start working with our account manager at ESO that this is what we're going to do. This is going to be our go live date. This is our our planned signature date and implementation process.
So give us time to put in the budget.
Yes, and that's why.
Adjust the figures of the budget, and the first payment would be January.
Yes, it would be in January. It's an annual payment that's due 2 weeks after signature for the contract in January. I think that just works in a cleaner fashion.
Would you like a motion this evening?
If we can, just so we can move forward with it, and know that we don't have to revisit it again.
Are there options in your initial contract that sets the price of your follow-on years? And part of the option to be exercised at the end of the calendar year for the next year at the rate set by initial contract? How? Is it a year for year?
Are we locked in?
Can you lock in? You gave numbers for the past 3 years, or 3 years.
Can we lock in those?
Can you lock in
Yes.
those on exercising options on a calendarized agreement at the end of the for the next year?
I believe so. I'm looking at the terms and conditions to make sure that that's the case. But my understanding is by the fact that they put all 3 years in that quote, that they would be held to that, so it would be locked in.
Sounds like.
Yeah.
It's not in words, writing, it's not.
Yes, and it's all right here in there. I think that would, ideally I would get a vote from the board tonight so we can move forward, let this come off the plate, know that we have it in the future, and to plan on that for next year, and we can include it in the budget.
Anybody motion, Niffy?
Aye.
Are you there? Niffy, are you there?
You guys hear me?
Now we can. Now
Okay,
we
can
can.
you say that again? Sorry.
I'm just looking for a motion.
Yeah, I moved to adopt it.
Okay. Second. I'll second it. We have a motion on the floor to kind of go ahead with the ESO as lined out. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Aye. Dave?
Aye.
Aye. Steve?
Hey,
What did he say? Yeah. Okay. We have 4 in favor and 1 against. Thank you. It passes. Updated organizational chart. That's you again, Kyle.
Yeah, that was the abbreviated chiefs report. I'm still talking about time.
You did well.
All right. So this should be relatively simple. We revisited the organization chart to update the structure to reflect the implementation of the support services division, and also to make it so as the district changes in the future that this chart can be reproducible. The way that this org chart works is that we have the community and the board at the top. Community and the board are signified by a yellow color and a diamond shape. Underneath that falls to the fire chief, and you'll notice intentionally that there are no names associated with this org chart, so it can be continual through the district, through the history of the district. We have now underneath that, directly off of me, we have 2 green circles. So as we go down and create a legend for this org chart, anything that's green is a function of the fire department. If it is a circle, it is a person, it can be a person. So if we were to get a training, someone who is in charge of training, that would turn into a red circle because it is a person that's filling that right now. Currently, it is a function that is provided by myself as the fire chief. Same thing with the administrator. We current or historically have a administrator for the fire district or administrative service, and it is a function that is under me as a green circle. Underneath that, we then branch into the two divisions. Over the operations division is Assistant Fire Chief Chris Enright. So he is placed above that. And then when we go drop down to the square, again, green is a function. However, it is a non, someone cannot take the place of operations services or the operations division. There's somebody over it, but it can't be a person. So it's a square because actually this signifies a division. So once we go down, so Chris is over the entirety of the operations division, and then we break down into our lieutenants, one for each station and one for EMS, one who is the quartermaster or equipment person, and one who's in charge of fleet. And then each of them has assigned firefighters and probationary firefighters. So that's that way the operations is broke down. When we go back to the top, under me, we branch to the other side. And we again run into the green square. Green square is a function that is not a person, but a division. So this is a support services division that is overseen by me. The support services division is currently built up of a bookkeeper, an HR professional, the outreach professional or coordinator, FIO, which is the family information officer, and the DIO is the digital information officer, public information officer. There is the possibility in the future, if we continue to grow, as you can see the amount of things that are tied to the fire chief for direct reports, where we would need to put somebody over that division to run the support services division. But as it sits right now, we do not have that. But as we build out into the future of the org chart, this has that ability. So the question, I think realistically, this is more of a presentation, but I just want to make sure that this is clear to everybody and they understand how it's expandable or contractible as the district changes in the future.
Awesome. I might have missed a legend to explain what the FIO and the PIO and the public might not know what all of that.
That's a really good point. And I have not actually thought about that. I was concerned about possibly creating a legend for with the colors. But just for the room's sake, FIO is Family Information Officer. And I will attest to that in a second. We put that function in play during the extended call at Centennial Cone, and it worked wondrously. She communicated directly with the incident commander and was able then to communicate back to the families for the firefighters that were out for 4.5 or 5 hours without communication to their family. It worked great. Public information officer or digital information officer. I think those are the only abbreviations that we have there, other than human resources. That's a really good point. Any other questions? Like I said, this is not there's nothing to action on this. This is more of I wanted to present it and show that the actual separation, the standing up of the support services division and it being reflected in the org chart officially.
Excellent. Thank you. On the website then.
It is on there under the meetings and minutes. But we will, especially when we stand up or put the new website into play, then it will be on the meeting.
We'll have an acronym glossary.
I'll probably create a legend at the bottom. Yeah.
No idea. First in, first out.
Okay, public comment is next. Chris, did you have something you wanted to say?
No longer.
No longer. Sorry, did I take it away from you?
It's a moot
It's
point.
passed. Anybody want to say, Sheila? Sure.
I wanted to know where or if there's a place for us to document Firewise work that we've done in the last while.
I think we do need to compile that. So send me an email with that. And when we go to renew our Firewise, which will be in January. February?
December.
December? Yeah.
We have to get something in.
Okay.
Renew it every year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You just want the
Place
information.
Where everybody could put in our hours.
Oh, yeah. Oh, that's it. Oh, right.
So that's what I wanted
Yes.
to know. before.
Was it on the website?
It was,
Yeah.
and it is due in October 31st, I believe, and I already talked, and I'm supposed to compile the data at one of our events here from everybody I know, as far as who's
I
going
remember.
to, maintenance, and then we're supposed to have it filed by the 31st, that's our goal.
Okay, I think at this point, the best option is to email me and then I will work with Terry, and we'll make sure that that gets compiled. We probably need to solicit that from the community. We probably need to tie in Becca on
Okay.
that. So yeah, I think that's the best option for right now. And we also, obviously we need to find a place where that can be put into the new
It used to
website.
be on there.
Yeah, it was Dave Kennard did it, and it was an input form, and when they switched the website over, that didn't translate over because of the
Okay.
format.
Okay, I definitely see the importance of that, so we'll make sure that that gets put into the new one.
And then my other thing was, I guess I've been around too long, but initially there was a long time ago, there was a policy in place that the board followed about meeting places. And if it was an even month, it was at station 2. And if it was an odd month, it was at station 1. Unless somebody put something in the Grange and you just had to let people know. So that was what we adopted a long time ago. So I was thinking today, since it was, I thought the meeting was going to be at station 1, and because it's September and it's an odd month, and luckily I printed the agenda and saw that it was here. So there are people out there that still remember that even odd kind of thing. So if you're going to change that, we probably need to let people know that.
Yeah, it's on the,
But we used to have a statement that said that meetings were odd months were at station 1 and
Yeah.
even months were at station 2.
I know it's like current.
But there's enough people that remember that, so we need to make sure they.
Would it be covered by email notification? I mean,
Would help that,
Yeah.
once we make up every January,
The schedule, yeah, and that was when it said that.
just, and that's on the website, I think, the annual schedule.
I'm gonna just suggest something out of simplicity. Would it be better to host the board meetings here every month? So that we're in the center of the district where it's easily accessible to both sides of the fire district for every month. And it was be continuously in the same place, so there would be no confusion.
Well, I think we heard from the people on the downside of Douglas Mountain that this was a long way for them to come, and they don't even come this way a lot of times. So they don't see the marquee and they don't see a lot of other stuff. So I think that's why we decided we rotated it.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter, maybe you
Yes,
guys
this is
decide.
not a new discussion. There was input from people that wanted to keep it at the stations and alternate, and there were people that, so we compromised and added, I think every third meeting is at the Grange for the.
And there used to be very good service here at all, and that's changed. But-
Yeah, we got it in there, and that's that was the trigger.
But it is kind of nice for the public to kind of keep it in the station.
Oh, absolutely. I feel that,
I think the rotation is really a good thing, the 3 locations,
As long as people-
but it's got to be sent out. There used to be an email being sent out that said, here's, the meeting is coming up. And maybe such and such a place.
You also did, about 3 days before.
free email.
They sent the actual agenda to the community on the email list. It was a press send, go once the agenda was done. And on there, the state was.
Yeah, I think there was one sent this month.
It did go out this week.
Yeah.
Okay. Which I was out of town, so. Thank you.
4:15 I can't remember how early I was working that day.
Thank you. Thank you.
I did miss last month. I apologize, but this month it went out. 90 people are registered for our email distribution. So if there's any confusion with 660-ish households and only 90 individuals on MailChimp, you can see why there's a challenge getting information to the community.
For people to sign up.
Yeah.
Hearing meeting, which is very important, and it's at Station 81 on Robinsonville Road. And I'll make a motion for adjournment if that's everything.
Just anybody else online, if you want to hop in, if you're a
Thank you, Nikki.
community member online, any other public comment, or you can put it in the chat as a community member and I can read it aloud.
Yeah, I made comments online that
Point of order, you're not a community member, you're a director.
point of order yourself. Hey, Niffy,
We have a policy for, we have a rules for how we conduct our public comment period, and it's not an opportunity.
the budget committee is completely composed in violation of the bylaw.
Please.
They're composed, and I'll distribute this with my email
Order.
here. You're breaking the rules on your budget.
Order.
Well, you're breaking the rules on your budget committee.
So noted.
I move to adjourn.
Bylaw.
I move to adjourn.
Second,
That motion.
all in favor of adjournment?
Aye.
Aye. Aye. Hallelujah. Nippy. Thank you, folks.
Thanks.